There you go. Is that better? Do I have to go even farther back? Holy cow. How's that? That's good. Yeah, I gotta go way over here. All right, hello you on YouTube. Okay, so a couple of follow-up questions that I'm going to ask you now. All right, so and I'm gonna pop some questions up here behind Avery's head, and so but we're going to talk this through, and then what we're going to do is we're going to talk it through. We're going to come up with some answers here. I'm going to have you graph something different on your whiteboards, as we're all good. You have shown a monopolistic competitive firm in the short run making a profit. So you've successfully done that. We're going to talk about what happens when you get to the long run with monopolistically competitive firm. All right, so I'm going to go backwards again. So what happens, before we get to talk about profit, what happens to monopolistic competition in the long run if everyone's making a profit? What happens in the industry? I'm going to hear from other voices. What else? What happens in the industry? Amelia? Okay, good. So firms join the industry. So you see on the board there, it says firms join the industry. What my follow-up to you is why? Why do firms, this kind of reviews what we just did 10 minutes ago. Why do firms join the industry?
Because there's profit there and no barrier.
There's no barriers to entry and there's profit being had. So again, we're connecting the dots. So now, if we take a step back, you just drew what a firm looks like in monopolistic competition. What does the industry look like for monopolistic competition? I haven't talked about this. I didn't talk about this first, second period either. What does the industry look like? Ready? Just like this. It's just a supply and demand curve, right? So this is the industry for monopolistic competition. Just like perfect competition, every market and industry looks like this. You don't have the cost curves in there, you're just talking about the supply and demand. So in this case here, since firms enter, the supply curve, I don't know, this is backwards to me. The supply curve is going to increase, right? The supply curve is going to increase. How does that impact, and we got barriers to entry, and firms stop entering when there's no profit to be had. Okay, good. I just gave away an answer. That's okay. Firms stop entering, and so we end up with zero profit in the long run, right? Because that's what happens in perfect competition. In perfect competition, firms enter, and they stop entering when they get to zero profit because there's no more incentive to come into the industry. There's no more incentive, right? So we have to get to the point where price equals ATC. Where I want your brain to be thinking about right now is how is my graph going to look different in the long run? And there's one particular thing. It will actually be similar but different to in perfect competition. So we know that the demand that we have to get to the point of zero profit. But my question to you is this. In this monopolistically competitive industry, what happens to the monopoly firm's demand curve? The demand curve that you have right there in front of you, more firms just entered. So what has to happen to your demand curve for your firm?
It goes up.
Okay, so
To the right.
it goes to the right? Okay, good. So let me ask you this. Well, let me ask you this. Why do you think it goes up?
More firms supply stuff, so more people want the product.
Okay, good. So more, well, we don't know if more people want the product yet, but more people are entering the industry to make the product, right? So the number of customers that we have may not have changed, but what you're talking about is exactly right. We have more firms that enter, but if more firms are entering the industry, is there going to be a greater demand now for your product? Or is there going to be less of a demand for your product? If there's more competition in your industry, right, Ava? Is there going to be more or less demand for your product if you have like 15 more competitors?
Less.
There's going to be less demand for your product, right? And so less demand for your product means that it's going to get more elastic, because that's what we just talked about over there before. Your demand gets more elastic, and it also shifts left. All right, so what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to make you can either erase what you have or you can do a new one next to it. I want you to do a new one But you have to do this for a monopolistically competitive firm in the long run. And I'm going to ask that if someone didn't draw last time, that they draw this time. Okay? Have at it.